Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Data Center Security. Oh, hello, and welcome to Data Center Security: Why Building and Room Security is Not Enough. I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance and welcome you today. My name is Nick Deberschmidt, and I'm Director of Content for Electronics Protection Magazine, the co-host for this webinar. Our fellow co-host organization today is DIRAK, and I'd like to thank them for sponsoring this event with us. DIRAK is an industry leader in data center security systems and is a partner in the Microsoft Partner Solutions Center. This partnership allows both companies to demonstrate to their customers and partners fully functional E-line by DIRAK systems installed in 19-inch rack enclosures on-site at the Microsoft Partner Solutions Center. Before we get started, I wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. First, as you enter the webinar, you are muted. However, please feel free to send any questions for our speaker via the questions box in your webinar toolbar. We'll do our best to answer all of your questions at the end of the webinar in the order that they are received. You can also message me directly with any technical issues via the chat box. Let us know if you need anything. With that said, I'd like to kick off this webinar and introduce our speaker. He is the Key Account Manager at DIRAK with more than 15 years of experience as an engineer, half of which has been spent in mechanical design and application engineering. As Key Account Manager for DIRAK, his primary responsibility is to ensure companies demonstrate proper protection and due diligence in protecting sensitive information stored inside data center enclosures. Please help me welcome Mr. Randy Ferentchak.
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to welcome everyone for joining today's Data Center Security webinar on why building and room security is not enough in controlling, monitoring, and auditing electronic data and critical assets at the enclosure level. Today we are seeing an exponential growth of electronic data and critical assets stored on servers and data centers, especially with the expansion of cloud services. This growth will continue to increase at a rapid rate over the next 5 to 10 years. In the news today, everyone hears about cyber attacks and cybersecurity. This graph shows the increasing rate of cyber attacks against federal networks and is representative of the increase in physical security attacks for other markets, including financial institutions, federal government agencies, medical, telecom, and so forth. Companies and governments are spending billions of dollars to repel cyber attacks. Companies have been more focused on cybersecurity from outside threats, but less focused on the increased insider security threats ranging from contractors, trusted employees, and so forth. For most data centers, old physical security technology is still being used, ranging from video cameras, security cages, even security guards. Most rooms are secured with palm readers, proximity card readers, and keyed locks. However, the server racks and enclosures are left unsecured within these rooms. The enclosures have either non-keyed or keyed swing handles installed in them. There's been changes in physical technology, but we mostly see the changes at the room level, not the cabinet level. Criminal hackers and thieves will find the most vulnerable point of an existing security system in place. Data and critical assets can be stolen physically without knowing about it, not just stolen through cyber attacks. You cannot turn your back. Hackers and thieves continually innovate, so there's a greater need to invest in physical security at the cabinet or enclosure level. There's a variety of visitors and employees going in and out of data centers on a daily basis. This includes both internal and external visitors, ranging from security guards, contractors, employees, all performing a wide variety of tasks ranging from cleaning, software updates, new hardware installation, troubleshooting, and more. A company may never know when a security breach happened if an access control, monitoring, and management system is not in place at the cabinet level. I would like to share a video provided by a DIRAK customer named InterZion showing a high business impact environment within one of their data centers. As you watch this video, please pay attention to the variety of different visitors to the lab throughout the day, including the company employees, contractors, and the janitors. Even a security guard must periodically check to ensure the swing handles installed in the cabinets are locked. The swing handles installed in the cabinet shown in this video use a standard universal mechanical key that also can be used to access other locks. However, there's no way for the customer to monitor who and when the cabinets were accessed throughout the day and when a security breach may have occurred. As you can see from this video, mechanical keys can easily be lost or stolen. The cabinets there that were shown there, very easily any of the insider employees could have taken a hard drive or downloaded some data easily from the servers installed in the cabinets. Even handles with built-in combination pins can easily be memorized by someone looking over the shoulder. And then there's the opportunity to get your swing handles keyed differently, which requires a good keyed management system that needs to be in place. Remember, criminals do not work 9 to 6. They work around the clock 24/7, so physical security monitoring needs to be 24/7. When thinking about physical security, most traditional security safeguards are reactionary after a prior attack. Companies go back and see what happened. Companies need to be proactive versus reactive to security, risk, and threats. Hackers, which include trusted employees, contractors, and so on, can still access the cabinet, even when the perimeter security, building security, and room security is in place. There's an increasing need and awareness in protecting critical data and assets at the server rack and enclosure level. There are a variety of regulatory compliance standards, including HIPAA, PCI DSS, FISMA, and Sarbanes-Oxley, just to name a few. I've listed 4 basic questions a company needs to be able to answer to ensure they are compliant with these regulatory compliance standards or preparing themselves in the near future to achieve compliance. First question, does the company have safeguards in place to control access to sensitive data? Is the company able to continuously monitor who is accessing sensitive data? Is the company alerted in real time when information is being accessed without authorization? And can the company produce an audit trail showing who has accessed sensitive data and when they accessed it? Here's a list of questions and areas of concerns companies need to address in their own environment to determine how resilient a company's risk management program is today. Are there access controls in place at the rack level today? Are industry compliance standards being met? Are industry standard best security practices being used? Do the end customers feel comfortable with their assets being protected and secured in a data center? Are keyed systems being used? They're difficult to manage. There's a risk of losing the keys, chance of stolen keys, which results in a great deal of company downtime and the expense to replace those keys. And how honest and trustworthy are contractors? And the same question applies, how honest and trustworthy are company employees? Controlling access is the first line of defense in protecting data and critical assets at the enclosure level against the simplest of inadvertent or malicious intrusions. To fully protect the individual data center enclosures, it is necessary to implement the same security measures at each enclosure that many organizations have at the building and room level in which the enclosures are located. This includes the ability to accomplish the following 5 components for each enclosure that contains sensitive information. Securing data real time, meaning physically securing the enclosures or cabinets in the room. Controlling access real time. This means the ability to change who and when individuals have access to an individual enclosure in real time. Monitoring access real time. The ability to see real time who is accessing an enclosure, who has attempted to access an enclosure with an authorized or unauthorized access card. Audit trail. In the case where a security breach has occurred, security personnel must be able to see who accessed the enclosure in the time interval of the breach. All the events, including authorized and unauthorized access, sabotage events, and so forth, need to be stored in a central server database. This ensures the customer can show a complete chain of custody. And finally, remote monitoring of critical assets and data. This is the ability to control and monitor enclosures from a central location remotely and in various locations. Enclosures and cabinets can be protected in a variety of ways. There are different types of physical access controls tools used today for data center enclosures. You have the traditional mechanical keyed lock systems that are very common today. Even though the cabinet might be protected and secured with a standard mechanical keyed lock, the security risk is inherent in the way the keys must be managed. Making and issuing keys, their loss of duplication, and reclaiming them from employees, contractors, or service technicians requires a complete, time-consuming keyed management system that is filled with error. Replacing keys is costly, and there is also a cost associated with the company downtime to replace the keys. And the ability to audit access to the cabinet is unreliable. If a keypad locking solution is used as a standalone solution and not linked to a security management system, there's no system monitoring, and the audit trail function is questionable. Yes, you do have some access controllable but access controls could potentially be changed without the administrator's permission. RFID. If the RFID solution is not linked to a security management system, there's no real-time monitoring. Controlling access is not necessarily reliable, and providing an audit trail is questionable without the use of software. Access control with software. Electronic locking devices such as swing handles integrated into a security management software ensures the enclosure is secure, controlled, monitored, and provides an audit trail and the ability to remotely monitor the enclosure if the software package includes a web client module. How does a company justify the cost of implementing an electronic access control, monitoring, and management system as an important part of the risk management program to ensure they have a resilient system in place? Here I provide a list of questions to keep in mind and be able to answer when putting together a proposal. Board level risk. What are the board members of a company concerned with? They are concerned with major disruptions in implementing strategy for creating value. And what determines the value of a company? The expected cash flows and the risk of disrupting those cash flows. Each organization must evaluate its own risk and budget by performing annual risk analysis for level of threats. The security teams need to present a financial business case to their senior management and board members before investing in access control systems. What are the cost-benefit opportunities? What is the return on investment versus the security risk and threat? The objective is to understand the data to identify the risk and tell a compelling story of injuries, losses, damages, and costs that can be avoided. What are the risks out there that could impede the company from creating or bringing value to their customers, investors, and so forth? Companies need to avoid business disruptions. And what is the severity of the threat versus probability of occurrence and expected loss? And how resilient is a company's risk management program today? How quickly can a company recover from a disaster? Or will the security breach be too costly and potentially shut down a company? And what is the potential financial burden of lawsuits or government subpoenas on an organization as a result of a security breach? I'd like to take a few minutes to share with you a mechatronic security system developed by DIRAK based on customer feedback requirements over the past years. E-Line by DIRAK is DIRAK's mechatronic security system designed to give a high level of security at the rack or enclosure for indoor and outdoor applications. E-Line by DIRAK controls access to individual racks and enclosures, monitors when individuals have access, and provides an audit trail. It is based on RFID transponder technology, allowing all access to be identified and authorized. E-Line by DIRAK consists of 3 product groups plus security management software. For data center enclosures, we offer mechatronic locks for racks, otherwise known as MLR. This handle here is designed to be installed in cabinets using the industry standard C cutout in the doors. We have our MLR 1000. It's available for customers using an existing third-party management system today. MLR 3000 is ideal for centralized data centers. It's connected to the network by a DIRAK gateway to a RS-45 serial bus connection. It can be used as a standalone system, and it's designed to be used with the E-Line by DIRAK administration suite software. Our MLR 5000 is ideal for decentralized data centers and is directly connected to the network by an IP address to an Ethernet. And it is designed to be used with our E-Line by DIRAK administration suite software. I'd like to point out some key features shown directly on the handle there on your screen, which allows employees and technicians to quickly locate the server requiring maintenance and identifying problems in the data center room. We have LEDs that are integrated into the handle housing, providing local signaling of alarms and authorization status directly on the handle. We have an upper backlight information that is integrated into the handle housing that can display customer-specific information such as road number, rack number, or even the customer name. The LED colors can be changed to solid or flashing to visually show the technicians or employees that there's been an alert or sabotage event going on at the, actually that upper LED will be used for signaling maintenance required in that cabinet. The next LED down that you see there, the blue arced LED, indicates the current status of the handle, such as ready for operation or access not authorized. And the lower LED that that's shown there in green, indicates whether the environment of the handle is within a customer-defined temperature range. And at the very bottom of the handle, there's a little plug down there that's a battery access port. The swing handle can be accessed with an authorized RFID card and the battery pack plugged in during a power failure or server down. Our reader modules will still store up to 500 events during this downtime and store them back to the main server when the system comes online. This ensures complete chain of custody. The E-Line by DIRAK administration suite software enables you to administer and monitor the E-Line by DIRAK swing handles for access control and security of server cabinets via Windows, PC, and Ethernet. The administration suite software is a client-server-based solution, which means it can be installed in a central server PC and used from remote client PCs. You can link up to 2,000 media transponder cards to every E-Line by DIRAK swing handle and connect them to as many as 30 time profiles. I'd just like to touch on some of the administration suite software functions. We have constant system status monitoring, so you can software graphically displays an overview with information about all the devices, including swing handles, whether they're open or closed, door open or closed, device alarms, and much more. Alarm management, we have extensive range of alarm and system messages. Handle locking status, shows locking status of handles at all times. Global administration, the ability to monitor several different facilities. Integrated web client. This makes it possible for any number of users to connect remotely to the E-Line by DIRAK administration suite server via a web browser, using apps. And Microsoft Active Directory. Our administration suite software offers extensive options to import or sync data from the Microsoft Active Directory. We offer 3 different kinds of E-line by DIRAK solutions. Again, we have our MLR series, stands for Mechatronic Latch for racks. We have our MLE series, Mechatronic Latch for enclosures, and our MLU, Mechatronic Latch for universal applications. The MLR is primarily used for indoor data centers with enclosures designed with the industry standard profile C cutout and doors. And for some who may not understand what the C cutout is, it's 2 cutouts, rectangular, 25 by 50 millimeter space, 4 inches on center. The MLE is primarily used for outdoor and public area enclosures, for example, telecom and public utilities. The MLE is designed to meet the WK2 vandalism requirements. And the MLU, its primary use is when it's not possible to use the MLR series. The primary use is for indoor enclosures, including data center racks, NEMA boxes, kiosk machines, and individual drawers housing sensitive material, medical drugs, and other critical assets. So I'd like to emphasize the importance of companies today protecting data and critical assets as a critical component of the risk management program. The organization and implementation of data protection measures often neglect physical access protection. Physical security breaches can be prevented through implementation of electronic access control systems, comprehensive monitoring, and auditing. The cost of the security breach can be enormous, even for small companies. Every company has specific requirements for their security of their systems, and DIRAK can help meet those requirements. Whether it is a single application or a comprehensive overhaul, DIRAK has an E-line by DIRAK solution to fit any company's needs. This concludes the presentation portion of the webinar, and we are now available to answer any questions.
Great, Randy. Thank you. Yeah, we do have a few questions here for you. If you wanted to get started with those.
Okay.
First one I have here is, what can I do as an administrator to block the handle for a data backup so that even a person which is normally authorized can't open the handle in this time frame?
Well, the administrator can configure a blocking period. In this time frame, it will not be possible for normal users, which have normal access, and they're not able to open the rack.
Okay. Great. Another question we have here is, what kind of return of investment does your solution provide, since it's a little bit more expensive compared to traditional locking systems?
That's a good question. Kind of look at the whole scenario of the project there, and the return on investment, depending on the scope and size of what assets are being protected, can be fairly small versus the result of a security breach that could happen, which can result in millions and millions of dollars.
Let's see. Great. Another one we have here is, if I'm interested in a system to better protect my individual enclosures, how can DIRAK help?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, no problem. If I'm interested in a system to better protect individual enclosures, how can DIRAK help?
Well, if it's individual enclosures like a standalone solution, we'd suggest offering our MLR 3000. We can work with the customer and based on the cabinets, making sure we get the right latching hardware design in there and provide the full package for front and rear doors, and we can offer, in addition to that, on-site training and ensuring that the solution, which if it's individual enclosures at 3000, meets all their needs.
Okay. Another question we have here, what types of organizations have shown the most interest in using this sort of security approach?
We have a variety of organizations in different markets. For the financial institution, we have our product installed in some Bank of America data centers, Regions Financial, and even large OEM customers developing software or hardware solutions such as Microsoft is an end user of our E-line by DIRAK solutions.
Great. Yep. Let's see here. Another question we have is concerning biometrics. Looks like another company uses biometrics exclusively for security. What are your thoughts on this technology, and is it compatible with your systems?
Well, biometrics provide an extra level of security for access into enclosures, and we offer the Preveris Plus ID biometric token as a biometric option. It replaces your RFID card, and a fingerprint template is stored within the device itself, which looks like a key fob, and then that device is used to be granted access in the cabinet. Also, we have there's third-party fingerprint readers out there that can be wired directly into our MLR and MLU reader module boxes. So that would, the end result would be customers giving two-factor authentication now to be given access to that particular cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Great. Let's see, another question we have is, how do systems at the enclosure level deal with sabotage attempts on the actual handle?
If there's sabotage events at the actual handle, and if it's an unauthorized opening or an attempt without an RFID card or even a remote opening command sent, the sabotage alarm will be shown, and if configured, can be sent via email to a predetermined email address of various administrators or security personnel.
Interesting. Another question here from Mr. Greenberg. He's asking what data center operators are currently using your handles, if if you can speak on that.
Data center operators are referring to types of customers.
I believe that's in regard to customers. Okay.
What end users of our software today? Again, Microsoft is an end user of our solution. We've done sold solutions in the Department of Defense, various banks in the financial markets, including Bank of America, Regions Financial.
I see. It looks like we, like an example would be, like public data centers, DRT, Telex. Would those be other examples then as well?
Yes.
Yes. Great. Another question we have here is, can someone integrate an intelligent camera with the solution?
Yes, on our module boxes, so each handle has its own we call reader module box. It's kind of our Smart Brains box. We have additional terminals on the boxes there that allows you to wire in additional accessories such as video cameras, alarms, or sirens, so that when the door is open or the sensor triggered, it would turn on that device that's plugged into our port there. So the user opens up the cabinet in a matter of time frame, a second to 5 seconds, and the camera can start rolling.
See. Very advanced. And on that same tip, can you control the lock through software? Could the user do that as well?
Yes, we have the ability in our software to remotely open the locks for a user. So it could be a user that's maybe a contractor who's not added into our system as an authorized user, but he needs to be granted access to the cabinet. So they can call the administrator from the site that he's at, reference the rack number, whether it's front or rear door, and the administrator could remotely open the door for them.
Okay. Great. Another question we have here is, how long can I keep the lock unlocked? Looking at about 8 hours. Would that be feasible?
Yeah, we have a function in our system called the green period. So you can, so that it's unlocked and anybody come up there and there's a lower button they can push and then releases the solenoid in the handle and you can open up the door. So it's called the green period and you can set that up to 24 hours.
24-hour intervals, okay. Another one we have here is, can your solution, is it able to integrate with BMS software?
Virtual software?
I believe that's building management.
Yeah, through SNMP trap functionality, our software can be tied into building management programs such as Linnell. so that once after you do the initial setup and installation, key alarming features that you want to be triggered can be configured through our software and then communicated back to Linnell, so our software can be hidden in the background, not even running, but the main security operations center who's using Linnell, for example, to monitor the building and down to the enclosure level will receive alerts and alarm messages.
Okay. We have another attendee wondering if you can review the outside environment MLE latching system versus the inside in construction.
Yeah, the MLE is a zinc die-cast handle, and it's designed to meet WK2 anti-vandalism specs. So there's no chance for a vandal who might be walking by with basic tools on them to pry in and bust that handle open. So it's a heavy-duty lock versus our locks that we use in our inside in the data centers.
A question here from Ben Greenberg. He's asking Equinix, Telex, DRT, public DCs, which ones? Somebody means which ones can you use this on?
I'm sorry, Glenn, can you repeat that again?
The question was Equinix, Telex, DRT, public DCs, which ones?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm back here. He was referring to which operations are using the solution, but I believe Randy, we've covered that one actually. So if you wanted to go to maybe the next one, next question. And this one goes into how to configure the handles with the software. How would you do that?
With our using our administration suite software, the package comes with we call a device configuration tool module. So depending if it's a 3000 or 5000 series, once all the handles and the components installed in the enclosure, we bring the system online and configure the devices with their assigned IP addresses, or if it's the gateway 3000, we just have a gateway IP address. Here in the module you assign what this main server IP address is. You can label the devices and so forth. Once that's configured, then you can load those devices into the main administration suite software. You can configure the devices there by assigning in the software the user's time profiles, appropriate media cards, and so forth into a final locking plan.
Okay. Another question we have here is, can this solution be installed into older racks which are already in use and have been in use for some time?
Yes. If the older racks are already populated with equipment and the customer is looking at adding an access control system to their cabinets, we either have the MLR series that's available. If the current cabinet's using the C cutout profile today, you just swap out the keyed swing handle and then install our device and tie it into the existing cam or rod latch system. Or if it's a cabinet not using this C cutout profile, we would propose our mechanical latch or mechatronic latch for universal applications, the MLU, which allows the customer to keep the existing lock device in place. And the MLU would just be a retrofit by installing the antenna on the external portion of the cabinet and then our MLU 1000 locking solenoid inside the cabinet.
Okay. Another question we have here is IP required for the locks, and if so, how many IPs per rack?
If it's the MLR 1000, it's just one IP per device.
Okay.
And if the customer doesn't have the ability to manage a lot of IP addresses, and the installation, for example, is a centralized location, all the cabinets and under one roof, we'd recommend MLR 3000, where for every 32 devices or handles, you would have one gateway, which would be the one IP address. And that way the gateway communicates back to the network.
Okay. Another question on monitoring here. Do you have an API so I can leverage my DSIM software to monitor the racks? data center infrastructure monitoring software?
Yeah, if you're using System Center, for example, you can monitor the racks that way too. Our software can be run in the background. Just set up basic SNMP configurations within the software, which will allow the customer to monitor the devices through their data center infrastructure management.
Okay. Here's an interesting one. If the handle is unlocked, can it still give an alert message?
Yes, you can set the time duration for how long the handle can be unlocked, or unless it's in a blocking period. We have an extensive amount of alarm management features within the software for each device, so you can set the handle that can be unlocked or the cabinet door open for a certain time frame, and if that time frame is exceeded, then alert messages will be sent out to the administrators via email, plus they also would populate on the screen itself. If it's set for an opening period, we set a certain time duration. After that opening duration, if the device handle is open and the door open, you'll be receiving alert messages.
Okay. Also, what kind of hardware is needed for each cabinet? I'm assuming for installing these sort of handles.
Yeah, our devices for both the MLR 3000, MLR 5000 handles, you have a handle and one reader box per handle, and we have a control cable that links the handle to the reader box itself. We also offer door sensors, so a door sensor can be wired up to the reader box. And if it's the 3000, in addition to the reader box, we also provide a junction box so that the cabinets that are getting together will be in series and wired that way. And we can provide mounting hardware, brackets for the specific rack enclosure that the customer is using, so that the components themselves can be mounted up and out of the way, like off the top panel, maybe off the side panels, so it's not using the valuable rack use space in the cabinet.
Okay. I have a question here on the software side of things. Is the E-Line solution compatible with Linux operating system?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're aware of?
No. Our system today for the administration suite software works on Windows 2000, XP, Windows 7, Windows Server 2003, Windows Server 2008, and Citrix.
Okay. I think we have just a few more questions to get through here. What is the default time frame of a handle unlock? I'm assuming, is it immediate when you click for the handle to unlock, or is there a delay, or can you program that in there?
You can set that in the device configuration box in the software.
Okay.
But when you access the handle with an RFID card, once it's recognized, the handle status LED will actually change in a matter of a second or two to show handle can be accessed and granted access to the cabinet. I think the first part of the question I was confusing myself, but there are extensive alarm management time profiles that allow, and also for when you show your card to the handle, you can set a time profile for how long the user has before they can access the handle in there. So for example, for 5 seconds, once the card is recognized, you have 5 seconds to push in the handle and open it up, or you can set it for a longer duration. And then if the user does not access the handle, then it defaults back to the handle close, system ready status.
Okay. Another one we have here is, what's the database of the software? Can it be integrated with DB2?
Is it EB2 or DB2? Is that what you said?
DB2, but I'm not familiar with the acronym, so.
Yeah. Well, we provide a copy within our software package, Microsoft Server 2005 Express. But if an end user is already using a SQL full-blown version software, then we have a manual that they can change some things in the Windows registries all the logged events will be dumped to the database.
Okay. Looks like we've got about 3 more questions here. Is it an open API unit, and if so, can we integrate it back to any DSIP software?
Well, any of the programming, again, would be done through the S&P agent that we offer within our software.
Okay.
And I'm not a software expert myself on all the functionality of that, but that's my understanding is that we have that set up in our software so it can communicate to other third-party management systems.
Okay. And as a user, oh, my apologies there. One more wondering, can they get daily and weekly reports of the log data via email?
Yes. In our kind of a task administrator module there, you can set it to the reports can be run every hour, every few minutes, weekly, monthly, and you can define how those reports are stored or sent out. They can be stored to another folder location or exported and sent via email to various administrators that would be assigned in that setup.
Okay. On what database is the profile being stored?
It would be stored on the server that's been assigned, and it's again Microsoft SQL Server is the database that we provide. We provide a free copy of the we get free version of the SQL Express, but then it can be stored to a full version of SQL.
Okay, great. It looks like we have one last question here from Mr. Reed. What are some of the benefits of using E-line versus, say, one of your competition?
Probably number one benefit is that we can show a complete chain of custody 24/7, whether there's a power down or not, by using a battery port. But we do not have a key override option in our device. Once you use a key, then you have to access a cabinet. Now you have a hole in your audit trail, versus we provide the battery pack, and with an authorized card can be granted access to the cabinet when there's a server down or a power loss. We provide the complete package with our software, so it's for the monitoring aspect. Some other companies out there provide just a locking device itself, but then the end user has to provide their own third-party management system to tie into the devices and provide the access control, monitoring, and audit trail functionality.
Well, that's great, Randy. I think that's it. I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to educate us all on some data center security topics here. I think everybody's going to take away a lot of good things from it. Everybody that's attending right now, you'll get an email from us, and we also have a recording that's going to be made available here in the next couple of days. If you'd like to review anything, also feel free to contact Randy or anybody else from DIRAK. And I think that's it. I'd like to thank everybody for attending. And thanks, Randy.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Goodbye.